to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell. This episode 524, I believe. It's patch 8.7 discussion. That's all that really matters. I'm joined by four great other guys. So Moon is here, Punch is here, Vrail is here, and Dom is here. What's up, guys?
Hey-o. What's up, guys?
Hi, guys.
What's up?
Yo. So I'm playing around with some new stuff. Hopefully the audio sounds good today. And if you're watching the live show or if you're listening, you'll probably see people in the background. My kid Aiden sitting over here. My buddy Dave is sitting behind me. And his son Ethan is sitting right here as well. Ethan, you want to say hi?
Hello, viewers.
He is a podcaster in the making. Ethan wanted to come and sit behind me and listen to a podcast and see how, the whole thing in the background goes. So I'm showing him how we do it, and he's going to sit here for this hour as we talk about patch 8.7. First and foremost, Dom, publicly thank you for taking over for the last 3 episodes or so while I was gone. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's what I do. It's what I'm here for. Thanks for everybody who's been joining along the way. We kept it rolling. Glad to have you back, though. It's nice to not have to do the intro here.
It's not so hard. Once you get rolling, right? You get used to it.
I feel more and more comfortable doing it. I can admit that much.
So something else you feel comfortable wearing is Buddha Boxers, buddhaboxers.com/T-Force.
So much better at that than I just go into it and I'm like, okay, well, we're covering the business. Here's Buddha Boxers.
I picked it up from DeClaude. It only took 300 episodes or so with him to understand how to do transitions very well. But yeah, buddhaboxers.com/T-Force. You can go use the code TrinityForce for 20% off your entire order. I just picked up another pack of 3 of them. They are high quality boxers. They'll keep you nice and comfortable as you're playing League, as you're raging about Rageblade. Your nether regions will stay so cool and comfortable and amazing that you'll want to just keep playing the game.
100% accurate.
That's right.
Keeps you dry.
we had me and Beaver talking about how we've never worn the Buddha Boxers and everything out here promoting this. So it's nice to have fellas who've actually worn them able to comment about it this time around.
I'm wearing a pair today too. I had to check. I was like, yeah, sure am. See, I don't even know if I'm wearing a pair.
You didn't even know.
I don't.
See, they were so comfortable, you didn't even know. It was like you were wearing nothing.
That's right. That's what it feels like.
But you had support at the same time. It's a very odd feeling.
Let's keep shilling for him, shall we? We need that. We need that podcast money, guys. Speaking of podcast money, we are going to be giving you guys some money if you sign up for our Arum tournament. Pineapples is,
and win,
correct. Pineapples is putting one on. If you go to the T-Force Network subreddit on Reddit, you can go sign up for there. The signups are open until Monday, April 16th at 8 p.m. I'm assuming that's Eastern Daylight Time, and the actual tournament will take place on April 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Just go sign up. Teams of 5 are accepted, and the first place winner team will receive some RP. I haven't decided how much yet. Depends how much you guys impress me.
Depends on the mood.
r/T-Force Network is the subreddit if you're not familiar.
There you go. Hey, Dave, why don't you grab yourself a pair of sit down, take a pair of his headphones you can listen on in.
That's what I need to do.
Yeah, just take one of his earbuds out. Just stick them in. They're chatting. They're gonna figure out so that he's not sitting here blindsided. We have to get you something too, kiddo. I'm not so prepared. But you know what we are prepared for is patch 8.7. Something that I wanted to talk about before anything else was the fact that minions are being changed in this patch, and I do believe this is probably the biggest change on the entire patch outside of any other champions. And so if you listen to anything else and you fast forward and whatever, make sure you listen to this piece, because the cannon minions are worth all the gold now. Like, you cannot afford to miss a cannon minion.
All the gold?
Little
Yeah,
sats
dude.
of gold, those things. Holy.
Yeah, those little things. Every time you click one, it's like hitting the little Mario when he jumps up and hits the block. You hear cha-ching because the big fucking fact stats gold will just jump right into your pocket, man. So to give you a better idea what's happening, melee minions are now worth 21 gold. They were worth 20. Caster minions are now worth 14 gold. They were worth 17, but neither of them have a gold growth stat, meaning they're going to be flat that amount throughout the entire game. However, siege minions now are worth 60 gold, so they're worth a little bit more gold than previously. So essentially, every 2 waves, that cannon minion makes up for that lost gold from those 2 previous waves. And more as they gain 3 gold every time they spawn. Well, every 3 waves. Every 3 waves, there were 3 more gold.
I think
really
it's like
like
87 or something crazy like that for a cannon.
I really like that the gold value of the range minions are the ones that really took the hit, as opposed to the melee minions. For top lane specifically, when we're talking about like CS, it's risky. It's those range creeps that tend to be the ones where you take the most free harass. And as somebody who plays like a weak early game character, I think this change is actually good for somebody like me. Because I'm the same CS that I was giving up before, I'm not missing as much.
I'm just trying to imagine the tomfoolery that's going to be going on like every 3 waves now in the solo lanes. Like I don't know if this changes as much about the duo lanes, but it seems like they're like in the solo lanes now. You better get your act together by the time those cannons come around, because that's where all the money is.
There was 2 changes that I thought of when I read about the cannon minion updates. One is that playstyle that you're alluding to, Dom, where people that aren't playing around cannons already will take note if they read the patch notes to actually do so now, because I think a lot of people actually are already focusing on the cannon wave and trying to get that cannon minion and fighting over it. But the people that aren't, I mean, they could have put in this patch just a little note that says, hey, by the way, cannon minions are worth more than regular minions, and done nothing else. And that would have changed people's playstyles, just because, they didn't realize they should be fighting over the cannon minion more. But now that they made this, it emphasizes that playstyle. It doesn't change it for some people, but it will for others. The other thing I could think of is that it might have a small effect in the meta in 2 ways. One, it could help lane bullies, the ones that can actually punish you for overstepping your grounds and trying to take a cannon minion and then killing you or getting you solo. You have to go back to base, or they can gain an advantage just by preventing you from taking the cannon minion, just from freezing the wave and zoning you off of it. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, minion dematerializer is a lot more
Effective.
It's got more utility now, yeah, way more.
If you're in a losing lane, if you are playing Garen and Tadarius, all of a sudden minion dematerializer. Holy crap! Yeah, that's pretty tempting now.
And let's not forget too that because the cannons are worth so much more as the game goes on, that stacking % damage that you get towards killing them in the future is, I mean, that's worth a lot. That's worth a ton.
And they're getting a lot more health. So
What if like tank junglers start getting relic shield and because they can't get tracker's knife anymore? They just walk into lanes and take the cannon minion that walk out because it's worth so much more.
Well, I was going to say something along those lines, because it's like, hey, now 80 carries, pay attention, because you're hurting your supports, your melee supports a lot more when you like don't pay attention and you take that cannon minion.
Well, speaking of junglers, like higher elo junglers, they're the masters, challenger level players. I'd expect to see this in the LCS as well. They're going to play around those cannon minion waves, those every 3rd cannon minion waves early. I fully expect people to
get time ganks.
Ganks off of that. Just walk up in the lane and be there to prevent somebody from even taking the cannon minion. Denying somebody that extra 15 gold. That means a lot in the higher elos where people are spending more time. Little gold means more up there. But it's.
But think about how many like players across all MMRs will delay their recall because they know a cannon wave is coming already, and now like everybody's going to do that. There is a lot more risk now, just because people are going to make that type of bad decision. Like, oh, I'm low, but it's a cannon wave, and I don't want to miss that. Like, people are definitely going to hang around for it.
Yeah, like you can have the cannon, then I'll kill you, and I'm way up in exchange for that, basically.
There's a lot to be seen with the total amount of gold, and I mean they have more life as well, right? They were 828 life, they're now 900, and they have a gross stat that has been changed. It's now 50 increases 60 for wave 16 and onward. So they're getting a lot more life, making them harder to kill, worth more gold. There's just gonna be a lot more fights around it. So just really pay attention when you're out there playing right now around that cannon minion wave.
I have to assume that these changes also influence the Relic Shield nerfs that we'll talk about later on, where you get less gold from Relic Shield now, and I assume that's because if you're less
that's just because the Relic Shield line is really it's strong and it's completing way faster than the other two pretty much always.
But you'll still be getting bonus gold now, won't you?
It's not based off how many minions you killed, isn't it? Based off how much gold you
Yeah.
get. So if you get more gold, then you'll still complete it faster just by taking cannon minions.
Right.
Yeah, but it's completing it really fast right now.
So the nerf is warranted anyways, but
Yeah.
it's still going to affect that.
This means like if you roam and everything, like you're paying for it, and that was something I kind of noticed and felt actually the last few patches. I guess why don't we just, since we're talking about it, why don't we just cover this change?
Yeah.
Gotta find
the
it
Relic
here.
Shield change. Is the gold per 10 is down to 1 from 2. Gold per 10 for Targon's Brace down from 4 to 1. Remnant and Aspect gold per 10 down from 4 to 1.
And so basically, unlike the other two, where pretty much all of the gold gen was in collecting the coins or getting the procs, Relic Shield still had a fair amount of ambient gold generation going on, which meant that all of the supports who were already really effective when they roamed weren't being penalized as much for choosing to leave the lane. And so this kind of addresses that issue and everything. You can leave the lane, and you can have a meaningful impact and everything, but you're going to be paying for it on the quest completion time.
I kind of wonder if Riot should be changing Thresh's starting items to a coin rather than Relic Shield now. The recommended items.
I think most Thresh players are going coin at this point because
no, that's not the point, right? I understand that. Like but a lot of people, autofill supports pick up Thresh because he's a lot of fun to play. It makes flashy plays. People try to think, it's kind of like the whole Lucian thing where people are playing him. But now that Cannon's worth a lot more, you're putting a lot more faith in your support with Relic Shield that can't last hit it to actually last hit it, or not use the proc off of Relic Shield to get the.
I'm not trusting autofill Thresh. You're crazy if you trust
autofill Thresh. Thresh is a hard champion.
Yeah, Thresh is a difficult champion.
I'm taking that cannon.
No, I don't blame you. Like if it's
autofill
Thresh or Rakan for that matter, there are a handful of Rakan players who go Relic Shield. If it's Thresh or Rakan, no, take that cannon. Like if they get it,
sorry,
then
I can't trust you, dude.
Good for them, but there's way too much in that, But the Alistar who's running into the back line and everything to take that cannon, or the Taric or all of the other melee champs and everything, let them take it. They're already taking enough abuse just going into the back line to kill that, let them get a little bit of health regen back, and also like the bonus gold for it. There are fewer things infuriating than when people take the minion I'm obviously going for and I have a charge.
You gotta ping it. Gotta ping which one you're going towards.
Punch is the only one out of this group of people who's actually good about it.
It's only because it's been drilled into my head for years.
Dude, I always am confused because you go for the range creeps instead of the melee ones.
That's because I'm so used to playing with Adam and randoms and now occasionally Vrail and everything, and they take the ones that I'm going for that I'm just like starting to get desperate for money.
Yeah, so I go for the ranged ones so you can have the melees, and then you're like, no, dude, I want the ranged ones. I'm like, damn, you're wasting your charges. So I'm like trying to beat you to it because I don't want you to waste the charge.
Well, let's move on and talk about champions because there's quite a number of them that got changed in this patch. But yeah, that's probably the biggest change. Keep that in mind, the cannon minion thing. Gragas, his Q barrel roll, the ability power ratio has been increased by 0.1. It is now 0.7 ability power. Drunken Rage is W. Ratio increased to 0.5 ability power from 0.3. Drunken Rage grants Gragas an additional damage reduction equal to 4% per 100 ability power.
It should not be hard. It should not be hard for Gragas to opt into ability power just through his rune loadout. So this is just a buff like right off the bat for him.
I was looking at Gragas's numbers recently. They're pretty bad. So
yeah,
he's like bottom 10 or something right now at higher ranks. So I'm happy to see that he got a little bit of a buff.
And the funny thing is he is still seeing like pro level play, so there is clearly still value to him at the organized level. Let's see how he's doing right now.
I might have to try some Gragas mid.
Will he become the next mid lane Galio?
Well, what is Gragas mid build?
Full AP Galio, now full AP Gragas.
I guess he goes Luden's Echo first, and then just hope he's bursting people out through the amount of damage he's doing, but you still have to let Q cook, and R doesn't have a crazy ability power, does it?
I don't know if you need Ludens. You might go Proto Belt first, I would think, for the Revolver and then the extra dash. Because I don't think you would have mana problems.
Didn't Lichbane used to be popular because it was W?
Yeah, I would think it would be Proto Belt and Lichbane would be in your first 3 items. Maybe
Rod, right?
I don't think so. I think if you're going
No?
AP Gragas, you're going to try and snowball, so you want to have early AP. I don't think you have time to let Rod stack up.
I just figure he's in the middle of the fray no matter what he does. So get the Rod going because at least it's a bunch of health, but not the mid laner.
Yeah, I was gonna go look to see if anyone's played him AP recently. I guess they could have today, right?
He's not
I'm
performing
looking at
well
like
yet.
Panunu builds.
1 hour ago, Mickey X did Proto Belt Morellonomicon. There's a Rod from Darshan. Darshan played him top lane. Looks like mid lane. He's doing all right, but the builds are kind of Zeke's Convergence a couple times. Looks like support. That must have been support Gragas.
So Panunu, who's like a really high level Gragas one trick, it only has 3 games on OP.GG, but he doesn't have Rod in any of them. He has Proto Belt, Morello's, and he went Death Cap and he was building Lichbang in his last game. So maybe that is the build to go with.
Left to be seen. I don't expect to see a ton of Gragas come out of this. It's just a nice little bump to give him something. So
I think it's gonna take like 2 patches before people realize like, oh wait, Gragas, like we got to change the way we're building him, but he is hitting like a truck again, like he did before the rework back in the day, like back when Skara was playing Gragas mid every game. That's what we might see.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
we'll never see those days again. Don't get your hopes up. All right, Ethan, I want you to stand up right here. I want you to look at this. You're doing the next patch note. He's doing Elise. You ready? Can you say it? Can you can you tell me how Elise got changed here? Q Venomous Bite goes 70 to 230. See how I read that? Same thing here. Cocoon goes 12 to 10. Just say it out loud. Right into the microphone.
I'm still I'm
right into the microphone. Just write it. Q Venomous Bite has been changed to do this.
Q Venomous Bite has been changed to the damage value has been
base
damage value.
Talk to the microphone.
Changed. The base damage value of I actually have no idea.
70 to 230.
72 to 230.
And E's cooldown has been changed to 12 to 10 seconds.
12 to 10 seconds.
Got it?
Yes.
All right, you can do the next one.
There you go.
I'm making Aiden do one of these too. He's doing the next one of this. So yeah, Q Venomous Bite base damage was 60 to 220. Is now 70 to 230. Cocoon cooldown was 14 to 10. Now 12 to 10 seconds. Trying to give her a little bit back out of the jungle, but I just still don't think that she's going to be doing.
I don't know.
all that
Anytime
much better.
Cocoon gets bumped. Anytime
But
Cocoon,
are you-
I get worried.
I hate
that
Elise.
often though. I
What?
feel like 2 seconds is not going to make that big a difference on Cocoon.
You know, considering that Sejuani and Olaf are being hit in this patch, I am slightly afraid of the Spider Queen, because that could mean that if the number one tanks, or the people that would be stopping her, are no longer going to be running around the jungle as frequently, and she has a decent matchup into some champions like Nocturne and Yi and whatnot when it comes to those early game solo queue junglers, that giving her an extra a reduced cooldown in E does help, especially 2 seconds early.
There's an important hit to tanks in the runes as well. So
I am honestly, like, as a top laner, Elise is one of the junglers. She's like Kayn, like years before Kayn came out, because of how insane she can gank from, like the insane dynamic of the spider leap. It's really difficult to evade her, because if she does it at the right time, she can avoid an ability that you might use to peel her off of you. Or if you use a mobility skill, she can just follow you, right? She has a lot of options. So, man, that 2 seconds hurts, because what happens when Elise is too strong is she ganks top lane and she burns your flash with the Cocoon, and then she waits for it to come off cooldown, and then she ganks you again. I don't know, man. At least crushes top lane as a jungler.
I mean, and I'm thinking we've got waves already changing and everything. There's a change in runes that's going to affect how healthy top laners end up being throughout their clear and that type of stuff. And so if you're making, I'm sorry, not top laners, tanks. So if you're making tanks weaker early on and everything, and then you're buffing like the fighters and sort of the early game powerhouses or the historical early game powerhouses, like we might suddenly see a pretty big shift in the jungle champs that are being successful. Mm-hmm. And Lee Sin's been buffed for like 2 patches in a row now.
And Nocturne.
So if Lee Sin and Nocturne, like, I mean, we might really see a pretty radical shift in the number of jungler, not tank junglers that are getting played.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Aiden, come here. Aiden, get over here. He's got his headphones in. He can't hear me.
You have to talk now.
It's your turn, buddy. See this change right here? Hecarim is getting changed. What's happening? Talking to the mic right here.
W healing increase.
Correct. So what is this? W, what is it? Just read it.
W Spirit of Dread.
The heal is changing to...
The heal is changing to 30% of damage taken by enemies.
Good job, kid. Done. That's what it is. W, Spirit the Dread. Heal is being changed to 30% of the damage taken by the enemies.
Cool.
Hecarim's pretty bad, too. He's in that same spectrum that Gragas is. He's like 46% win rate. So good for Heck. I'm glad they didn't buff his E or his Q because those are the abilities that make him too good.
I'm trying to figure out what this helps. I guess a little bit of everything, but
nothing to write home about.
He's not a tank, so just by having his healing.
Does this help his top lane play or his jungle play more? That was what I meant, and that was
jungle,
not clear.
It's from enemies, not from monsters, so I don't think it does anything to jungle. This is like only when you're actually in a fight.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good though. Still, I mean, Hecarim's healing was more relevant in past seasons and duels, but I don't think it specifically is meant to help like top lane Hecarim, but it'll just make his skirmishes stronger. I think they're buffing him just because, like, I don't know, they're trying to touch on these weak guys. Whoever they think, yes, he's weak. Maybe it makes a difference. Maybe it doesn't.
They're at 10% increased on the healing. You would have to take damage, right? Because the reason it was taken, if you're ganking, you're not necessarily taking damage, and the healing probably isn't that significant because you're not tower diving or anything anymore.
It's like good specifically, like in the 2v2 and stuff early.
I mean, if you live with like 20 HP, that's because of this buff.
Right. All right, Ivern's getting a change. Root Collar, Bug Fix, dashing over walls to jungle monsters now works more consistently. Brushmaker, cast range increased by 1,000. And Daisy, she now more aggressively acquires enemies to attack, and Daisy's AoE damage reduction now also protects her from epic monsters. Little quality.
I like the... I'm kind of jumping to the end of the list, but I like that R change with the monsters, like that Ivern can use that to tank strategically, the Baron and stuff.
Mm-hmm. The Brushmaker change is... I like it because anytime I've played her, I felt like I was just out of range, or him, rather, not her. I was thinking Daisy. Anytime I've played him, I felt like I was always just outside of range to be able to cast my brush where I want it to save an ally, or, you know, plop it over top, you know, to the next, make my brush a little longer, etc. But again, these kind of look like these same changes that, like, they're there to help, but there's nothing here that's gonna, we're not gonna see like a dramatic increase from this. If anything, the dramatic increase is coming from the buffs they've done the past 2 patches on top of the giant nerf that's coming to tanks.
It's a shame that Ivern is so underplayed, and that he's only a jungler, because I really feel like Ivern has a good, strong design as a support type character. And realistically, because his utility is so unique and so powerful, and they've actually like basically taken away almost all of his damage potential. Like, you know, he wasn't given really the ability to deal damage. Unlike the support designs that we see in bot lane a lot of the time, I dislike how a lot of the supports just run around dumping out damage when I feel like they should be more utility focused. So I really like Ivern's design. So it just sucks that he doesn't get played more and he can only be really used in one role.
Yeah, I would love to see them do a few things to sort of encourage support Ivern a little bit more, because I think he's a really fun champion to play. I'm just, you know, I'm a terrible jungler, so that I don't really get to do that.
Well, let's move on and talk about Karthus next, because this is it's a significant buff for him. Q, Lay Waste. The base damage went from 40 to 120. It is now 50 to 130. A 10 damage increase. Plus, it's doing double damage when it's hitting an isolated target. So you're doing an extra 20 damage every time you're hitting a target, right?
I mean, that's
Pretty big.
substantial.
Karthus last hitting should be super easy now.
And it already was super
It's
easy.
all right. Yeah, you just shove the wave nonstop. Press R, win game. Flash in, die, press R. It's pretty
That's
simple.
like a huge buff, even though it doesn't look like much.
It is.
No, it's huge.
Adam, are you going to break out the Karthus later?
I'm probably not playing tonight, but the next time I do play, I will I will break it out. Actually, I picked up Super Galaxy Annie out of a chest, and so I drunkenly played her about midnight, 1 o'clock last night.
How'd that go?
I won the game, and that was the reason I won the game, because it's Annie's easy, right? You drop your R and delete somebody. And that's all you got to do. That's what I'm here for, delete one person. Kayn's getting a change in this patch. Passive, the Darkened Scythe. Increase the amount of points gained from interacting with enemy champions pre-10 minutes. Decrease the amount of points gained from interacting with enemy champions post-15 minutes. So he should be able to transform more quickly earlier as long as he's ganking.
Yeah, my understanding was that they launched him thinking that like he should really have to work for it if he wanted the transformation early on, but if he doesn't get it, then they should like give a bump to the players who struggle for whatever reason. And I guess what they found is that him not being able to transform, with some type of reliability, just made him a worse champion. And so the idea here was basically flip-flop it. Like, if you do well in the early game, you should be rewarded for it. And if you don't do well, like, you're going to have to work extra hard to get there.
I think we saw...
nothing towards your passive in early fights. It felt really bad. Because Kayn's one of my more played junglers when I do play jungle. It just feels really bad if you gank, like, a level 3 gank and you get, like, nothing off of it towards your passive. So I'm happy they're buffing it.
I think we saw this change in the wrong order, because last patch, Kayn got some big ratio bonuses, and I know that supposedly it's like, to offset the Duskblade changes, whatever, but I think the fact that his numbers are way up compared to what they were, and now this change is following it, I think those changes from last patch might be a little explosive with him hitting his passive a lot sooner.
I can speak to that. They were trying to get this change into the last patch, and they just couldn't quite get the numbers right. So they were like already considering what you're talking about here, and they just had to delay it. And I agree, it might cause some problems as a result and everything, but they definitely were in the same spot that you're talking here.
Well, that's good. At least, I'm glad to hear that they were considering it.
Another change, Reaping / other abilities can now be queued up while casting Q. That's good for blue Kayn, essentially, because he can Q in and W at the same, W right after, or even, I guess, both of them.
I think it's better for red, because Q, if you're blue Kayn, W doesn't have a cast time, so you would W then
right.
Q.
I forgot. I always think it only lets you move with it. But yeah, you're right. There is no cast time.
So yeah, this is better for Rost.
Just as a side note, real quick, for people who don't play Kayn, so it refers to points and it's passive. Can we see the number of points that he has?
I don't think so.
Or how many he's gaining. The thing I don't
Isn't there like a
about
meter?
There's a meter, but it doesn't give you any hard numbers. If you played is it legendary Lux skin where you change forms with their skin?
yeah,
It's
that.
kind of like that, where it just slowly builds up, but you don't actually know how much you're getting.
I wish we could see what actually changed numerically, because they do that for everybody else and every other ability, but not this one.
I think you just kind of know what the person is going to change.
No, I'm
into.
with you. I think it sucks not knowing values for that type of stuff, but
Before all that, let's get a good death recap. One that actually shows me how I died and where I died from,
Hey.
and maybe a death replay
That'd be nice.
camera. That'd be great too.
It's season 8.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
We
That's
just
not
got
gonna
voice
happen.
chat. Give him some time.
Leona's default to attack damage as her default adaptive stat. Great.
yeah, getting ability power since all of her abilities scale off either resistances or AP. That felt pretty bad as Leona.
All right, let's
So
So it's
moving on.
always going to be attack damage for her? Okay.
Yeah.
Lux.
Even if you build AP now, that's weird.
That I don't know. Maybe if you build a bunch of AP, it switches how adaptive works. But like at the start of the game, it's going to give you attack damage, which I think you would want even if you're going the AP build, because her trading pattern has 3 auto attacks. So
I see what you're saying.
All right, Lux time, because that's great and all, but it's not Lux. Final Spark cooldown refund on kill was 10 to 50%. It is now 30 to 50%. Good luck, Aram. Lux Aram players. She's now more overpowered than she was. The spark that lights the fire cooldown refund is granted if 1 or more enemy champions die within 1.75 seconds of being hit by Final Spark.
I feel like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing is that you don't have to actually get the kill with it. You just have to hit them and then they die.
So,
it's going
to be so good late game.
Didn't release Darius like 6 years ago, get that mechanic changed, and it was only like a 0.5 second window.
Right.
Yeah, but Darius isn't it instantly back up? Lux's, you still have to wait. Like 10 seconds. But I mean,
so someone did the math earlier. If you go the Ultimate Hat and New Presence of Mind, you can get your alt cooldown down to 10.3 seconds on Lux if you're hitting people and they're dying. So your ultimate's essentially always up. And then you...
How do you...
I have mixed feelings on this.
What is the interaction if you're getting more than 1 kill? Do you get 2 kills worth of resets?
No, it's only for... It only triggers for at least 1 enemy champion, so that means you're getting at most.
For Presence of Mind or for
what else listed here?
For the R cooldown refund.
It's only 1 kill. Yeah. It won't completely refund it.
Okay. Still though, I think 1.75 is 2 for. Why not 1 sec? 0.5.
I mean, I'm happy. I like Lux, but I can see
I
how it
have
can be
mixed
frustrating.
feelings on this. I have mixed feelings. Like on the one hand, her ult is not nearly as reliable as Darius's is for murdering people, and she also has sort of a wider range of use cases for it than Darius does. But at the same time, like
Darius has like a huge setup. And
I agree, and I'm just saying like the other side is that hey, her ult is way easier to use than Darius, and so you shouldn't be rewarded for being bad. And this is kind of still doing that.
No, because you still hit them. You still have to hit them with the ultimate.
Yeah, but you didn't time it right.
But you can do it from across the screen, exactly, and it takes out the requirement of timing, and it's already
it narrows the use case. I don't know. Like
it's already like the shortest cooldown ultimate in the game for the amount of damage it deals. It really need to be up more often.
Yeah.
Corky takes issue with that. But.
She just needs to actually be good. I mean,
Lux's ult does way more.
I mean, I don't think Lux is too strong necessarily, but I think this change is bad for the game.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of making it so she can spam her laser like that. It's crazy. I know that she doesn't have that many spamming spells, but at the same time, maybe she needs something. But I always keep going back. If you were reading Twitter today, one of the rioters tweeted out that they're doing some experimental changes with Lux, where if you shield somebody, and they can apply, is it Illumination, basically her passive, and gain extra damage by auto-attacking an enemy champion, trying to make support Lux like
Leona
crazy.
now.
Yeah. So it's on Twitter. Mubi retweeted it. But let's move on. Malphite getting a change. Base stats: attack damage growth up to 4 from 3.375. Ground slam ratio up to 0.6 ability power. Unstoppable force cooldown down to 130, 105, 80. A champion who did not need another champion did not need an alt change.
AP Gragas Assassin mid and
no
AP
matter
Assassin Malphite top.
No matter how you play him, Malphite got buffed.
That's
what the hell,
that's
man?
0.2 to 0.6. That's a big buff.
Yeah,
that's
massive.
huge.
I mean, and if you go out AP Malphite, the lower CD alt is a big deal as well.
Yeah, because
if you go like a hybrid damage Malphite or something, or like Bruiser style and everything, you got a huge buff because now Trinity Force is way better if your AD growth is 4.
Well, I mean, Malphite auto attacks all day long anytime he trades, just because he's durable enough to stand in your face. So
he presses 3 buttons and then all he's got left to do is auto attack.
Yeah, he gets more AD from one of his abilities than on hit damage or something. They reworked it a little, right?
From armor, yeah, I think he presses W and shit happens.
Yeah, shit does happen.
Malphite's better. Low MMR, go play him because he's kind of a stomper down there anyway. He's just boring to play.
He's boring to play against.
Well-
Hey, one shooting people full AP is not boring.
Yeah, I was about to say if you ask Chira, he loves AP Assassin Malphite. He has a blast doing that.
Dude, Comet AP Malphite. Oh man,
Can't
the
dodge.
Q.
It's
The Q.
Yeah, hit
dude.
the
not fun
comment.
to play against.
You don't have to always be outplaying someone with a super difficult champion for it to be fun.
And now,
That's right.
when you get low from the Q, now he's gonna R and then E, and you're gonna be like, "Where did that E damage come from?" And you're gonna look up the patch notes. And you're gonna be like, "Shit."
Yeah, I wonder if people will start going like Roa tank on him or something like that.
Now I just want to see what people have been doing on him to begin with.
I've seen Proto Belt Malphite before, like
Yeah,
the
that makes
double
sense.
gap closer.
That makes a lot of sense.
I feel like if you go Roa and once you have Catalyst, you can just spam your Q on your lane opponent. Just be super annoying.
I mean, it's a lot of Sunfire Cape, Iceborne Gauntlet, Abyssal Mask, but you will see some Roa players. Really not that many Trinity Force players.
But that's before the buff, is it not?
No, this is on the patch right now. So,
No. People just haven't listened to our podcast yet.
yeah.
That'll change the numbers significantly, I'm sure.
Let's talk about Nocturne now that we've spent so much time on Malphite. Nocturne Dustbringer, so the 4th patch in a row, he's getting a change. Bonus attack damage on trail has been increased from 15 to 55 to now 20 to 60.
Stop buffing this champion.
That's a big top turn buff, isn't it? Isn't it, Pone?
Ah, dude, I'm coming back, guys. I'm coming back to top turn. He's going to be my boy now. Presence of mind, top turn, let's go.
Dude, I bet Conqueror and Nocturne. Dude, 60 AD and then the 35. That's like 100 almost.
Yeah, just think about it, man. Just I'm in
So
alt.
many damage.
I just ult in, then I'm in range of 4 seconds. That's enough times, right? Like, am I considered in combat with a champion as I'm flying toward them? Because if I am, Conqueror's OP.
I don't think so.
I don't think so
But,
either,
the Q will put you in combat. Like the trail hitting the target, and then while you're closing the gap on the trail.
Fuck yeah, Conqueror, let's go. Nah,
Auto
electrocute
attacking minions will put you in combat.
Conqueror's
so-
just good on anyone.
You have to be
Any melee can use Conqueror.
You have to be in
I
combat
feel like.
with the champion for 4 seconds, not just in combat. I believe, right?
No, you can. It's you can.
Yeah, it's
you can set
anybody
it
and
up
all.
on.
It's even monsters.
Okay. Then I'm gonna do it from the jungle. I'm gonna start attacking the scuttle crab, and then I'm gonna ult in and get that extra true damage.
See, there you go.
Wow,
Oh my goodness.
nasty as hell.
Yeah, right.
I don't want that.
He's probably still better off with electrocute.
By the way, yeah, he is. By the way, play Nocturne. I think after the Sejuani changes and Olaf changes shit, Nocturne's going to be even better than he was previously. Because Olaf getting a change, Ragnarok, haste toward enemy champions, nerfed. 50 to 70%, now 20 to 70%.
I think Olaf is like, I'm pro Olaf, but this was a good change. He's pretty strong. Didn't really have a weak early game
He was
in any respect.
pretty damn fast with this and Ghost and Predator and
Righteous Glory.
Righteous Glory, yeah. There you go. Pop all of those and
You're not getting away from, like, he's going to run
you're
you
faster
down.
than Ramus.
And they haven't really nerfed it that much starting at level 11. Like that level 6 nerf is a big deal, but that really is only
Yeah.
going to make it so he can't like hardcore dive you or something like early on.
Like,
that's
maybe
that's
get
about
away
it.
from him early on.
Quinn,
I mean, 20%'s not much. That's less than Garen Q.
yeah, but it's still it's a pretty significant nerf for early and mid game. He was being picked primarily to counter Sejuani, and then people were starting to pick Trundle to counter Sejuani Olaf as well. So there's now that that's happening. Do we start seeing? Does Trundle fall off out of the jungle? I guess maybe not, because he does do pretty good, right? Like, he counters all the top tanks that are being played out of the LCS. So does that push Trundle to the top of the LCS ladder now that these champions have been nerfed?
Well, no, Trundle's not, like, necessarily good if tanks are bad.
Yeah, he's
right.
the anti-tank
Yeah.
jungler. So if it's a bunch of assassins, I don't think you'll be seeing him as much.
No, you won't. You're
Yeah.
right.
But, like, if Jarvan moves back up, you might still see more Trundle.
Well, let's talk about. I mean, Zach probably goes up to. more
Yeah,
top,
Zach
right?
goes up, and you like your
Zach Skarner.
as a response there.
Nocturne. Quinn behind enemy line, Sky Strike. They fixed a bug where Quinn's R would fail to activate when cast after respawning. Fixed a bug where Quinn's R could not be cast until she respawned or returned to summoning platform. Fixed a bug where Quinn's Q would visually pass through targets if cast during R behind enemy lines.
I've been making Punch play Quinn. Quinn, Punch. Have you noticed any of these?
No, none of these have affected
Okay.
me.
Is it just
thankfully.
me, or have the last like 3 or 4 patches, Quinn and Rengar, that we're about to talk about Rengar, it's just been like a plethora of bug fixes.
Well, Quinn was
The
only
last
the last
patch,
patch, but
okay.
yeah.
But
It
it
just
was a
seems
ton
like
of bug
they were
fixes
fixing
last patch, yeah.
And Quinn got
They
way
could always
better
use
as a
more bug
result.
fixes.
So.
Yeah, that's really all she needed. Just fix these bugs and she's good. Hey,
Yeah.
look at that.
All right, let's talk about Rengar. Base attack damage up to 68 from 65. Fix a number of cases
Boo.
where Rengar would stop attacking and stand still. I still ban Rengar. The one time I don't ban Rengar is
Bad Riot. Bad Riot.
Right. Stop buffing Rengar.
You know what bug they need to fix? Kha'Zix.
All right, so
Oh,
Rumble
terrible.
changes now. Flame Spitter base damage has been increased from 135 to 315 to 175 to 315. Damage to minions changed. It was 75% flat. It is now 60 to 80%. So it's still doing the same amount of damage early, right? Or just a little bit more damage early. To
That's a
minions.
lot more damage.
40 more at rank 1.
Yeah, it's actually quite a bit. 40 damage.
I was actually talking to somebody on my stream today about this. Rumble now has the highest damaging ranged ability in the game at level 1.
Shit.
It takes so much skill to turn your flame spitter on, stand in the minions, and press that. That's how you outplay people.
Why? That's not cool, man.
Let's move on to Sejuani. Base stats, health growth decreased from 95 to 88. Permafrost stun duration was 1 to 2 seconds. It is now 1 to 1.4 seconds.
Good. Get rid of
Needed.
those 2-second stuns. Yeah, that needed to
Necessary.
happen. That's the health thing though. That's huge. Like, because she's already losing health elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
the
from
health
runes and everything. She's gonna be a lot weaker during her first clear.
and Cinderhawk nerf. So, was it your last patch or the patch before?
Slowly chipping
I know
away. at
Warmogs
Sejuani.
got nerfed as well.
Yeah, Warmox, you have to have more health. Cinderhawk gives you less health, and now Sejuani gets less health. So
Chipping away at the pro scene with that one. So hopefully we see less Sejuani. Shaco Deceive. Shaco's next basic attack within 0.25 seconds of exiting invisibility deals bonus damage, reduces Deceive's cooldown. Empowered attack
That is
ratio decreased to 0.4.
Look at that nerf, dude. 2.5 seconds down to 0.25. Dude, Chico
Yeah,
sees
jeez.
play for 1 patch. And in exchange, what does he get? A 0.1 AD ratio on Q? I'm pretty sure if you asked any Shaco main what they would prefer to have, they would say, fuck that AD ratio, give me 2.5 seconds.
And if you ask
Give me
anybody,
time to set it
if you
up.
ask anybody playing against Shaco, fuck that champion, delete it, because fuck that champion. Swain getting nerfed in this patch. Ravenous Fox icon can now be pinged to show allies remaining cooldown on the pole. Q Death's Hand. It wasn't. Sorry, they made me laugh because they changed this a couple patches ago, right? They decreased the cooldown. Now they're increasing the cooldown. It was 5.5 to 2.5 seconds. It is now 7.5 to 2.5 seconds, with the base damage now being decreased to 55 to 135.
oh, this makes me so sad. I mean, it's warranted, but it still makes me really
Right?
sad.
Who would have
Vrail,
thought?
has there ever been a time where you wanted to ping that
Yeah,
graph?
actually, yes, all the
Okay.
time. That is super annoying. Like if a jungler's coming for a gank and I just pulled him with my E, and I'm trying to like ping. I don't have it for. I mean, it's like 6 seconds, so it's not like a super long amount of time, but it can make a big difference. If it's something like Sedge Q, which doesn't have a very long knockup, so it can make a big difference.
Also, the nerf to Death's Hand just puts it back to what it was at launch.
Right.
Did they change the damage?
The
I thought it
cooldown.
was just the
Change
yeah. The
it.
cooldown's back.
The cooldown is back to what it was at launch.
He's gonna be fine later in the game, but it just makes the worst part of his game, which is the early game, even
Why did they make it
more terrible.
I don't understand. You go 5.5 to 2.5. Why didn't they make it like 6.5 to 2.5 and see where that sticks, right? Give me a middle of the pack thing. Don't just completely revert the change you made after, your justification was, oh, he's
No,
not doing enough weight clear.
He got a bunch of other buffs too,
They
right?
buffed
Yeah.
buffing Q was buffing the wrong part of his kit.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't
Okay.
think they needed to change Q. I just thought they needed to change W somehow, and I didn't even notice the E change. I think the W change was the biggest thing that they needed to fix.
And they also needed to change the lockout on his ult, which they did.
where it would get blocked by champions, right?
No, just
Oh,
the,
well,
the
no,
amount
I
of
get
time
quicker.
before you could use it, reuse it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was just a handful of other small things, and they sort of looked at the wrong thing and buffed Q. So
Well, they buffed Q when they buffed everything else also. So
Yeah.
it just was kind of a perfect storm of things.
All right.
Swain's still going to be super good late game. His terrible wave clear just got more terrible.
Warwick changes on this patch. Q, Jaws of the Beast, fix a bug where sometimes Warwick's Q would deal double damage. Or deal damage.
Well, that's nice.
Twice.
Huh. I wonder how
Sometimes-
often that was happening.
A lot.
If it's they're saying sometimes, like, this is like an 80% thing, we can't make it sound like we're letting that happen. So let's just say sometimes.
It was
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, right.
I can think of a few times distinctively where Warwick did a huge chunk of damage with Q. I was like, wow, I had no idea Warwick did so much damage.
You know what's
I wonder
really
if this has
weird
something
is
to do with it.
I didn't
It
know
wasn't
this.
supposed to.
Yeah, I didn't know this bug was in there. I played against a Warwick top, and he was at like half health at level 1, and I went for a trade and I lost. Like, how the hell did that happen?
And he probably said the same thing. How the hell did that happen? Zed, Razor.
Or maybe it's happening so often that the Warwick mains are like, oh, I know how much damage it's going to do just because they think that's how much it's supposed to happen.
Please don't.
I
say
don't.
that.
I don't think this changes anything about Warwick, but I think that's because because of the health changes going on elsewhere and the other stuff happening. Like, I think Warwick is still really good. Just means like, yeah, now you won't
You're
be
fine.
surprised by the amount of damage you take.
1,249,000 games played. He's at 54% win rate. Granted, that's like 0 games played at all, but he's still at 54% win rate. So he's doing fine. Next change, Razor Shuriken Q for Zed. Damage to units beyond first now up to 60%. Keeping in mind that they did make it so that if you hit multiple Shurikens, he's doing more damage as well. So,
Isn't it?
and that was last patch. They made that change.
Yep.
So slowly buffing Zed to make Red Mercy, back in the spotlight, right? So suddenly people care about him again.
I guess his buffs weren't enough to overcome the Duskblade nerf. But, I mean, his buffs look pretty scary last patch. I don't know.
Fuck that champion.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so
Yeah.
much the buffs aren't.
Remove all assassins. Let's go.
I don't think it's the fact that the buffs aren't hitting home. I think that Riot's looking at the wrong place, and they're finally starting to address it with patch 8.7, that being tanks. As long as tanks are around and being played out of jungle and top lane, we're not going to see assassins.
And support and
yeah.
mid lane.
Right.
I mean, we joked about it on Monday and everything, but the fucking 100 Thieves won with 4 tanks and an 80 carry.
Yeah, they did. All right, let's talk about the item changes in this patch. There's only a few of them. Ginsu's Rage Blade cost increased to 3,300 gold. That's pretty, necessary. Right?
Warranted.
Not much to say there other than it needed to happen. Locket of the Iron Solari getting a pretty significant nerf. Base shield down to 30. Shield per target's level down to 15. Bonus health ratio down to 20%. No longer scales with level. Cooldown increased to 120 seconds from 90. Multiple shield reduction amount down to 75% from 50. Multiple shield reduction duration 20 seconds from 8.
Just needed to get
They
hit.
just nerfed this
I
thing
thought-
right across the board.
I thought they had a rework for this item on the PvE. Is that still in progress?
No, I think they've given up
Canceled
on
it.
trying to do what they were going with that. Because
Okay,
I
so
think
this is
the original idea behind the Locket rework was to make it the more appealing item for the tank type supports and even tank junglers. And what happened is that because the healing and shield power items exist, like Locket was still being really good on the Jannas and the Lulus and the Namis. And so it just became a ubiquitously good item for, every support and a lot of junglers along the way too. So like, they just had to hit the numbers on it across the board. It'll still scale all right if you're building health as well along the way. But, other than that, like, it's not worth doubling up on anymore either, because like you're getting basically no shield. So it's really only like if your jungler gets it, don't buy it as a support. If the support gets it, like junglers look at something else. It's not worth having 2 of them.
All right. I think we'll leave it there. Ninja Tabi. Finally, Reddit can quit fucking bitching. Armor decreased from 30 to 20. Basic attack damage reduction up to 12% from 10%. I don't really have anything to say about Ninja Tabi. I know that everyone on Reddit that would probably ever listen to this would probably lambast the shit out of me because they would think that I, oh my god, Ninja Tabi's the problem, but I've never felt like the item's a fucking problem, so...
it serves an important purpose. Like, If you're well, from a top lane perspective, if you're playing against a Gnar or a Quinn or somebody ranged and you're not, you're rushing Ninja Tabi. It's pretty important. You need that to actually stay in lane. I guess the problem that Riot saw was that the base armor or the 30 armor on it was so good for champions with low armor, like ADCs, that they were buying it, and then
Right.
it was worth it for them just to survive not only auto attacks but just physical abilities from assassins or whatever.
I don't know. I feel like the armor plus basic attack damage is kind of like a redundant overlap, but I might be in the minority there. I would rather see it do something like tenacity there, but I also haven't put zero thought into how that would warp top lane. So
I really think Tabis are important to the game because marksman or ADC position is like solidified based on where Tabis are at. But the problem with Tabis is that because marksmen are like sort of balanced around it, like the game can't exist without it. And that's why we have this like awkward, like how much armor is like, not is good, and then like what arbitrary percent of a base attack damage reduction, but and like so I mean, it used to be 30 armor and 12%, if I'm not mistaken. It used to be both of those. And then they nerfed it down to 10, and now they're trying to switch the power back to being anti-ADC and less about being anti-physical. But when they initially put Tabis into the game, the problem was that they didn't feel like there was an easily obtainable armor item that was, useful for all classes. So who knows where we're going to end up after a fix.
It just, I don't, it just...
Still better than dodge.
It just makes, yeah, it is. It just makes it so that ADCs shouldn't be buying the item as frequently as they were, because you have to be attacked to have the same or more damage reduction, meaning top laners still find some use out of this item, which is, I think that, it's the right change in the right direction. We'll see how it rolls out, I guess. But we'll go and move on to Rune's Resolve Tree getting a significant nerf on this patch, and one that was probably warranted. Resolve Primary was a flat 65 health. It is now 15 to 135 scaling with level. Resolve plus Inspiration was 130. It is now 30 to 270. Inspiration plus Resolve was 140. It is now 35 to 300. So your Inspiration or your Resolve now, the amount of health
that's a lot of less health
scales. And yes, that is a significant amount of lost health early.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you're somebody who took Inspiration along with your Resolve, I don't think this is really going to be that big of a deal, because Inspiration's a tree that makes laning easy to begin with. So I think that this is a buff for anybody who took that, because between Minion Dematerializer and Biscuits, you know what I mean, you're going to have an easy lane phase. You didn't really need that flat HP.
Sure.
For everybody else, insane nerf. I don't like it.
I think it needed to happen. I think there's just too many tanks running loose. But even through all of this, even if it needed to happen, what needs to actually happen is what I said 14 episodes ago. Riot needs to let us fucking pick our choice when we pick our primary and our secondary. Let me pick the extra stat that I'm getting, regardless of it being scaling. Hell, give me choices. Maybe I want 65 health and some scaling of this. Give me some fucking choices to work with, and as long as everybody has it, we're on an equal playing ground. And it gives you more levers and more buttons to tweak. I'm gonna bitch about it every single time the runes come up. Every single time.
I'm gonna feel really weak because of this. Like really, really vulnerable early on, I should say. It's gonna feel great later on, I guess, but losing 100 health at the start of the game is a huge deal for the types of champions I play in the matchups I'm often in.
I've seen supports start the game with less than 500 HP, which is something I haven't seen all season.
Yeah. Something.
That's
what was it? Sona
terrifying.
patches ago was like 425 HP walking in the lane because she did a fuckload of damage. But even if she took someone sneezed on her, she died. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just
I saw a Nami today with 490.
More than
was that Sona? When Sona had that much HP, was that when she had less HP than
a minion, than a
right?
caster minion? Yeah.
Does caster minion have more HP? Or melee minion?
They did.
One of the minions.
Yeah.
Sona was less durable than a minion at that point in time.
All right, let's blow through these last pieces here so we can close this out. Mana flow band has been changed in this patch. Hitting an enemy champion with spell grants 25 mana up to 250. The cooldown is 15 seconds. Upon earning 250 mana, mana flow band restores 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds.
Oh no, my never-ending mana.
I think this is actually stronger overall.
It's stronger for a lot of champions. This probably hits Nami pretty hard because her mana costs get pretty brutal, and so she climbed up the way she did because Mana Flow Band was really helping her.
It hits Jhin pretty hard actually, because having that free Q bounce or free W, because W actually is a pretty significant mana hog when you're going through lane. I'm not taking Mana Flow Band anymore because I don't need the mana come mid and late game. I only use the mana during laning phase.
It looks like she's doing okay, so I might be misspeaking, and there were other things that helped make Nami a lot better. But I just remember last season when Janna, Lulu, and Tarek were crushing it, and like Nami was not performing at nearly the same level as those three were, and she should have been. And even Soraka was pretty high, and Nami was just like comparably lower.
So this pushes everybody out of sorcery into inspiration now, right? Minion D-Mat for everybody to help.
No, because Aerie is really good.
I was thinking secondary, not primary.
Oh.
Just go Ultimate Hat and Presence of Mind, and always have your ult.
That's true. I do like Ultimate Hat. 15% cooldown reduction, stacking. That's pretty awesome. Presence of Mind, out of Inspiration, getting changed. Enemy champion takedowns restore 20% of your maximum mana refund. I said Inspiration, I meant Precision. Enemy champion takedowns restore 20% of your maximum mana refund and 10% of your ultimate's cooldown. The only question I have about this is, does it stack?
I imagine it gives you 10%, and then it calculates what 10% is after that. So you're not going to get 50% back. You'll get 10%, then 10% of the remaining. So if it's 100,
yes,
they'll go 10, 9, and then so.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like if I kill, two champions with Karthus ult, does my ult suddenly become a 30-second cooldown with Ultimate Hat and Presence of Mind? I know it's kind of crazy, but.
Yeah, you're going to get 10% off for every...
Fuck yeah. I'm playing Karthus. Let's go, Marine.
Karthus was the first person that came to mind for me.
Marine and me are doing... I'm playing Karthus mid, and I'm just ulting every 2 seconds.
You still got to get a takedown.
That's not hard. I'm a Karthus.
2 seconds.
I like it.
I like it.
Minus the channel time punch.
Right,
oh, okay.
Right. Presence of Mind is nice, but I think it's kind of like... Presence of Mind is better now than it was previously, because... like the patch notes say, it locked people out, had long cooldowns, but I do kind of feel like it's still a sort. I don't want to call it a pseudo trap, more sort of a trap for some people, because if you're going into precision to pick up Presence of Mind, you are potentially giving up a lot more, like Minion Dematerializer out of Inspiration and whatnot. So it's hard to justify the extra, unless you need the attack speed, because Karthus isn't using his auto attacks ever. So does he really need Presence of Mind, right? No. The answer is no.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which ties back to the attack speed that you were talking about. That
I think this is a pretty big...
get for getting a precision.
See?
I think this is like a pretty big Kassadin specific nerf, because he won't be able to just ult forever after he gets a kill.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I forgot that he could do that.
Even if he is getting 10% back, his ult I think costs like 800 mana or something crazy like that when he has it fully stacked, so he won't be able to just free cast that. So
well, let's talk about
that's pretty.
No, that's a significant change. I didn't even thought about Kassadin, but I have
but it doesn't say they're getting rid of the other part. It just says that they're adding this to it.
Does it? If it still does the other part?
Wait,
no, it's not doing the other part. It's only doing this now. They're removing the other piece of it.
Wait, I'll look through I have the client open. I'll go look. Y'all can keep going.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's what the wiki has. It has just this and everything. But yeah, I mean like they don't have the other part listed in there. So that's I was reading. I was like, geez, this has just got.
It's basically a keystone at that point.
The other part's not in there.
Right.
Okay.
Legend Tenacity. They're buffing it a little bit. It's now 5% plus 2.5% per stack. Max Tenacity is 30% at 10 stacks. Because under.
I like this change.
I love it. Garen W plus this stacked fully equals 72% tenacity. You can
then if
factor in Sterix and Mercs if you want to.
What are
And then
stuns?
if you go into Resolve and you take Unflinching, you gain 10% tenacity for each of your summoner spells on cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Bruiser's
pretty good.
Pretty tempting.
Yeah, you could get pretty immune to crowd control or resistant to.
Punch, cut down's getting a change. I know how much you love this rune.
Oh, goody.
Damage multiplier is now 4 to 12% from 4 to 10.
I know what I'm doing.
Coup de grace is still better.
Taking cut down on
Coup
everyone.
de grace still better.
All the time.
Still better. Coup de grace still better.
Oh, all right. Let's look. Just look at your rune damage at the end of the game.
So
Look how much damage coup de grace does. It is depressingly small.
that's what she said.
Like you're always underwhelmed with how much damage it
That's what
does.
she said.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's only good if like
I walked
your
into that one.
has like predictable like huge chunk of damage when they're low. Like it's good for if you have an execute, and it pretty much
Yeah.
sucks. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Zombie ward duration was 60 to 180. Now down 30 seconds at levels 1 to 4. 36 to 120 seconds at levels 5 to 18.
30 seconds early is pretty big.
This needed to be nerfed.
It's just
Yeah.
basically
Does it still make my ward score look ridiculous? Because if so, I'll still take it. If not, then...
approach velocity movement speed increased to 15%.
I like that. I love approach velocity.
Yeah.
I think that's a great rune.
Nasa's
think-
buff.
Needed a buff like that. Good
Yeah.
for that. Good for that rune.
It's there are a number of those champions that have tether abilities. Karma and Morgana are the ones that come to mind for me. Where like this is really nice and helpful for keeping that that tether in place and then getting the root or the stun. TK also loves this. You're not getting away from TK.
I mean, wither someone.
If they were getting away from you when you had withered them, I kind of feel like you were doing something wrong to begin with.
Once it's maxed, yeah, but like, as you're maxing it, I can see that.
We've lost our host. Our host is gone.
Goodbye.
You're just
Now what are we gonna do? Oh, he's back. Thank goodness.
Oh, I was here. We're talking because my wife has her clock on her computer set to Eastern time and we're Central time. And Dave checked his watch and I asked him if I was keeping him because he's been sitting here the entire time. He plays Heroes of the Storm. This guy. He's that jackass.
That's me.
Like me some pots.
I play it with him too. All right, listen. By the way, Crest of Cinders no longer damages turrets.
that needed to happen.
That's a red buff.
that's red
the
buff, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay. That was
No, I had no idea what that was called, but
That's pretty significant. But that's it. That's patch 8.7. We made it, boys. Woo!
what a patch.
What a patch. Yeah, good luck. Get out there. Go hit some cannon minions. Yell at your support when they can't use Relic Shield properly. Dom, I promised I'm going to keep paying attention. I've been doing better. I promise to keep doing it.
Have you?
You know why I've been doing better, Dom? Because I can't attack as frequently as I previously could because I'm locked into 4 shots. So I have
You're
to
doing better because your champion won't let you do worse.
See? It happens. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's the patch. I'm going to leave it there. Any closing remarks? Anything? Nothing. Good.
Later, dogs.
Don't-
Later, dogs.
Don't play
I feel
Aurelia.
like this game's
Ignore Aurelia. Aurelia does not
oh yeah,
exist.
do we even mention Aurelia's
Pay
out?
no attention to the
I guess we
Aurelia.
didn't talk about it. Okay, briefly, she's broken.
She dashes everywhere. It's fantastic.
We'll get to her
We'll get to her next week.
someday.
Monday. Guys, we'll see you. Peace.
See ya.